Thanks for tuning into the Adam Carolla Show. You can watch the full show on YouTube. Just search Adam Carolla Show and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can also get the podcast wherever you like to listen. And for extra content, ad-free episodes, and more, you can head over to our Substack and sign up today. Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but get on mandate. Get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We love that about you. Our friend Bill O'Reilly back on the program. Good to see you, my friend.
How you doing, Carolla?
I'm doing well. And I love seeing you out there. And I love all your commentary and your take on stuff. So much going on in the world, foreign and domestic. So what have you been thinking about? What have you been ruminating about lately, Bill?
Well, first of all, Carolla, thanks for inviting me back. You know, that's not a common thing. It's one and done for O'Reilly in a lot of precincts. So I admire your pluck.
I am plucky.
Iran is dominating, of course, because the unintended consequences affect every American, and the economy here is fairly fragile, and people don't have enough money, and now they have to spend a lot more for gasoline, and then they don't really know where Iran is or what the threat level is. You can't see nuclear weapons. They don't trust Donald Trump. It's on and on. It never ends. So my job is to kind of simplify it, put it into perspective, use facts, to inform people so they can make an educated decision about what's happening.
Yeah, so we'll talk Iran and we'll talk local as well. By the way, Bill's podcast, We'll Do It Live, is what we're here to plug today. Also, all the books he's got out there, Confronting Evil, and the Killing series. It's all fantastic stuff. So Iran. First off, do you think Trump is negotiating with them, or do you think he's just saying, I'm negotiating with them to keep the price of oil down and keep the stock market going the right direction?
Well, the reports we have, the latest ones are this weekend, there's a good chance there will be face-to-face negotiations between the United States and Iran in Islamabad, Pakistan. Now, if you haven't been there, Carolla, don't book a trip. You don't really want to go there. But the president of Pakistan is trying to broker this conversation. And the Trump administration would like to make a deal. I don't know about the Iranians. They're all dead. I don't know who they're going to send, you know. But the Trump administration would like to declare victory here and get the world's economy back on track.
Yeah. And tell me what you think of this statement, because there's a lot of detractors that talk about Trump, whether it's doing what he did in our part of the hemisphere or doing what he's doing over there in the Middle East, where they go, well, if you just put in somebody else, they'll just end up doing the same thing the last guy did with the regime change. But I would argue they wouldn't do the same thing the last guy did if they thought they were going to be blown up again.
And the agreement has to clearly state that the Iranian government cannot enrich uranium, cannot have functional ballistic missiles, and a bunch of other things, and that inspectors, probably from the United Nations, would have to go in every month or so and make sure there's compliance. But let's be realistic. These are liars. These are evil people. The Ayatollah Khomeini, who started all this madness about 40 years ago, is on the cover of my book, Confronting Evil, that you mentioned. And they're certainly capable of cheating. But that doesn't stop you from trying to make a deal and slow things down. Because the alternative is economic pain all over the world. So you got to kind of balance this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's funny in a sad way is I live in California. Gas was $5 a gallon before the war. It basically, you know, other parts of the country are explaining they have to pay $3.50 for a gallon of gas. I'm like, that's the best day of the week for me. I mean, Californians complaining to Californians that your gas has gone up to $3.50 is insane. Ours hasn't been $3.50 for 11 years. So it's a weird thing, and the gas was up that high with Biden as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, California is a unique place. And I understand, I've been to pretty much every county in the state, why people want to live there. I mean, it's beautiful, and the weather is good in most of the state. And there's a freedom to California that in other places really doesn't exist. However, Sacramento, your state capital, has ruined the economic profile of the state. And you're paying for windmills that don't do anything and trains that don't even have tracks. And the corruption is unprecedented in this country. I think California is the most corrupt state in the history of the union. And anybody who lived there is going to get whacked. It's going to get worse, Carolla. It's going to get worse. They're going to take every nickel they can take out of you.
Yes.
Anybody who makes a decent living, they're coming in and they're going to try to take all your stuff.
Well,
that's the trade.
It's a bizarre obsession with extracting money from law-abiding citizens versus figuring out why they're spending so much money. And Hochul,
but they don't care about that.
No, not only not care about it, they're protecting those people. That's their constituency.
Because that's the con, that's the corruption. So on this Thursday coming, 2 days from when we're taping this, I'm doing a special on News Nation called The Collapse of San Francisco. One used to be probably the nicest town, big city in the country, and now it is a hellhole. And it's not a complicated situation. The San Francisco government, far, far left, combined with the state of California, refuses to enforce the law.
Right.
And when you refuse to enforce the law, the criminals are going to run wild. And the drug addicts are going to come from every part of the country to San Francisco because the city gives them $1,000 a month on a debit card. You put it in, $1,000 comes out, you buy all your fentanyl until the money runs out, and then you mug people. Yeah. And San Francisco doesn't deny it. They know why the city's collapsed, yet they sit back and they watch it happen, and there's no drive to improve things or change things. That's stunning.
I agree. I'm from LA, and San Francisco is where you went if you wanted a beautiful weekend. And the topography was amazing, and all the Coit Towers and the top of the Mark and the Golden Gate Bridge and San Simeon and Tiburon. Like, you would just go there for the weekend, and it was exquisite. And, and this wasn't in the 40s or the 50s. This is the 80s and the 90s. And it was bucolic. And it was like, it was like a Rice-A-Roni commercial. You got young people can look that up. And now every person I know who goes to San Francisco gets their car broken into and their computer stolen out of the back of the rental car, or their guitar stolen out of the back of their car. So it's a mess. And here's what I don't understand, Bill. Just like people are leaving California, go to Texas and Tennessee and Nevada and everywhere else, it's a pretty easy little experiment we conducted. We took the nicest city in the country, in San Francisco, and we did a little experiment. What if we ran a city all blue with no interference, no checks, no balances, just a supermajority, all Democrat? What would happen to that city? And it's turned into a fecal-riddled, dangerous mess that nobody wants to go to. Fisherman's Wharf is closing down restaurants and shops. So we just had a little experiment, blue versus red, and it's been settled. It doesn't work. I don't get why anyone would want to continue with an experiment in other cities that doesn't work. We did it in San Francisco. It was a disaster.
The reason is that the population of San Francisco, like the population of Iran, hasn't risen up in rebellion against the crazy progressive movement, which believes that the laws are racist. That's what the fundamental problem is. The progressive movement believes the United States of America is a bad place, and white men run it, and white men want to punish all minorities and women, and all the laws are racist, and nobody who's poor or addicted has any responsibility at all. They can do whatever they want because the white men somehow made them into these miscreants. This is the craziness that has permeated San Francisco and a lot of California.
And just
and
to
when you
bolster your point, I don't know if this is in your short doc, but the BART system, the Bay Area Transit System, refuses to show footage or pictures of criminals who are committing crimes on their rapid transit system because they say it's going to lead to racial profiling and discrimination. So meaning all the guys that are mugging all the old women on the BART system are black teenage boys, but we won't show you that because we don't want to perpetuate this stereotype, which is a perfect example of why they're circling the toilet right now.
And the criminals know this. So when I was doing a special shooting, and we shot it over the Super Bowl weekend, and San Francisco was there, I walked through the Tenderloin district with my cameraman and was doing a narration. And thousands of drug addicts who roam the city at will. I mean, most of them didn't know who I was. They thought Dirty Harry had returned. Okay? And I'm going, this should never happen, not only in the United States, but in any civilized country. Look at this. And there were people sprawled everywhere, and they're going to the bathroom in public, and they're shooting up in needles in their neck. Meanwhile, kids see this. And these people, we interviewed a slew of them. They have no fear. The San Francisco cops aren't going to arrest them because the cops are told not to arrest them. Cops are furious, by the way. San Francisco PD is a pretty good outfit, okay? But they're told, don't arrest these people. That's low-level stuff. We're going to send a counselor over. I mean, you go. So the destruction of the city is apparent. I mean, you can't deny it. They keep saying things are getting better. They're not getting better. All right? Because the Honduran gangs, all illegal aliens, control the fentanyl and heroin trade in there. They're all armed. And there's nobody even investigating them because it's a sanctuary state. It's crazy. It's so crazy. Where do you see the special, Carolla?
I can't wait. Give us the name of the special and the date, air date. It airs on Thursday.
On this Thursday, what is that, the 26th?
On News Nation?
And it's on News Nation, 9 Eastern.
Okay.
Okay. And it's called The Collapse of San Francisco.
Yeah, what I don't get, and by the way, nearby Oakland, California. Now, Oakland is a complete...
worse.
Oh, a complete hellhole. But...
Worse, right.
Oakland, listen... San Francisco has always been Beverly Hills, and Oakland used to be Sherman Oaks or Studio City. It's like, all right, it wasn't the glitz and the glamour, but it was nice residential. People could live there. I had friends who lived in Oakland and went to Cal Berkeley, and I would stay with them in Oakland. You could walk around at night. It wasn't dicey. It wasn't dangerous. The only In-N-Out burger that's ever left a location in 75 years of the franchise of In-N-Out Burger was in Oakland, California. They said enough is enough, and they took the only franchise they've ever pulled up stakes and left in was from Oakland. Now, In-N-Out headquarters has moved from Los Angeles or California to, I think, Tennessee. But either way, at some point, people have to notice this stuff and think we must stop going this direction. I cannot understand why it's not so blatantly obvious. And the
We did
citizens
not see,
need to do it.
we did not see any collective anger at all. None. And we were in town for 3 days in San Francisco and Oakland. It's just, and the same thing's happening in LA.
Yes.
So Santa Monica, the 3rd Street Mall, used to be one of the premier shopping centers in Southern California. Can't go there now.
No.
All its stores are boarded up because if you're not going to prosecute shoplifters and people who are stealing,
Yes.
okay, then they're going to steal. And then you go to Westwood, right next to UCLA, where that used to be my place where I stayed, okay? The place is just destroyed, the whole place.
Yeah.
But the collective anger isn't there.
No.
And it's the opposite. They still vote for the craziest progressive who's on the ticket.
Yeah.
And you go, all right, people get what they deserve.
Yeah.
And in California, that's what's happening.
Yeah. You know, it's so apparently obvious what's going on. And by the way, I think you and I are intellectually honest enough to go, look, if a city was run for 50 years by only Republicans, and it was all the ideology that the Republicans talked about, and the city was a hellhole that was crime infested and drug infested, I would raise my hand and go, I'm now going to vote a different direction. I've seen the damage it could do, which is a kind of an issue. I do think, and I'm curious what you think of this. I think Republicans will jump ship and go another direction faster than Democrats. Democrats are ride or die. They'll run it into the ground. You know, Mayor Bass, who just got done coming back from Ghana after Los Angeles was set on fire, she's number one in the polls for mayor of Los Angeles. So it doesn't matter how many taxes, how much crime, how much homelessness, how much fecal matter on the sidewalks inflicted, they still go that direction. And I don't think Republicans will put up with something they disagree with for long periods of time. I talked to Tucker Carlson about this many years ago. I said, why don't you just start your own sort of conservative network? He said, because conservatives disagree on everything all the time.
There is a powerful emotion that drives votes for Karen Bass and Mondami here in New York, where I am, and it's race.
Right.
And that overcomes anything else. So skin color in Chicago, with Johnson's the mayor there, they're going to vote for, they being the minority crew, the people that they believe are going to look out for them. Now, they're not looking out for them, but their rhetoric is, oh, you know, you're getting hosed, you're a victim, I'm going to help you. And so that overrides the practical things that you see every day. Mandani is going to damage New York City beyond repair. He's a communist. That's what he is. He's already trying to seize assets through the death tax, the estate tax. Okay, he's already trying it. He's only been in office for 3 months. All right, and the guy doesn't say, you know, he's a communist. However, he appealed to people who don't have any money. And he said, I know you don't have any money, so I'm going to give you everything free. And I'm taking it from the rich guys like O'Reilly. I'm going to take his money, I'm going to give it to you. Yay, I'm going to vote for you, Mandami. And that's how he got elected.
Oh, yeah. But what do you think about Hochul, who seems like a dope intellectually to me? There's people that seem smart, but they're misguided, or they're communists, they're socialists, or whatever. But I don't call them dumb. Hochul seems dumb. She's now, after telling everyone to hit the road to Miami and get the hell out of here because we don't want you, she's now begging for those people to come back and get their friends to come back because she's losing her high-income tax base.
Well, Hochul knows, because she's got people that do this, that fiscally New York State's going to collapse. It's not a matter of if, it's what date is it going to be. And she doesn't want it to collapse before November because she's up for re-election. So she's desperately trying to hold that line until the Democratic machine, which is 5-1 over Republican registrations here in New York, elects her, re-elects her. Then it'll collapse, but she don't have to run again, so what does she care? So that's what that's all about.
God, it's so sad. When I don't, it's sad to watch great cities sort of crumble, almost like it's sad to watch great athletes not be able to play at a level anymore. You know, there's a certain point when you see Joe Namath out there and he can barely jog and he's getting sacked all over the place. Or you see Muhammad Ali and Larry Holmes is taking him apart, you know, and you're like, that's Muhammad Ali, that's Joe Namath, that's San Francisco, that's Los Angeles. Come on, man. And you got to just sit there and watch it. And it's sad. And
if you live in it, it's sadder.
Yes.
And in May, I'll be going over to London because the same thing's happening in London.
What is happening in London?
Well, English tradition, British discipline has collapsed because the immigration, which now they've passed new laws to try to get under control, inserted so many people into Great Britain, primarily London, okay, that have no tie to the British tradition, okay, and they segregate themselves. They don't even try to blend in, but they're a powerful voting bloc and they control a lot of what happens. And then you have a big real estate market that's fueled by Arab money. And, you know, Muslims, Arabs have taken over the city. And that's why you didn't hear Sturmer support Trump in the Iranian situation, because he's afraid of the Muslim component in Great Britain. There are so many of them, and they're overrun. The whole country has changed everything since I was a student there in 1970. And so we're going to do a report on that.
Yeah, so in a way, it's, in a sense, a little like Minneapolis and the Somalian population.
The Somalis.
There,
yep.
Which is groups come in and you can assimilate, learn the language, learn the culture. And, you know, I think America's wildly tolerant in terms of eat your own food, open your own restaurant, you know, watch soccer instead of football, listen to whatever music you want. But this is America. Learn to love it and learn the language and learn the history and learn the traditions. But instead, they hive themselves off. And the politicians figure this out. And the politicians don't need to be Somalian. They can be as white as you and I. But if that's their constituency, next thing you know, that's who they're catering to. And that's probably what happened with the Somalians and Tim Walz and the mayor, Fry, and guys like that. They have to sit down and eat their food with their hands and do photo ops, right?
Well, there's no scrutiny. So if you would investigate the Somali community in Minneapolis, you're a racist.
Right.
Just for investigating it.
Right.
Okay, you can't do it. And California is an interesting demographic study because Ronald Reagan was elected governor there twice. Okay, and so it was once a conservative state, primarily white, and it ran fairly efficiently. All right, and then there was an influx of Mexicans and Central Americans who came in with a totally different point of view, which is good. I mean, I'm a big diversity guy. When I say that, people go, oh, come on, yeah. I don't like forced diversity, but I like a variety of cultures. I think that's healthy. But when you get these voting blocks that become bigger and bigger and bigger, and then they align themselves with one party, don't even listen to the other party, because the one party is promising them entitlements across the board, the Democrats, then your whole state changes. Yeah. And that's what happened in California.
Well, it's sort of like what happened during COVID with the school teachers' unions. They became one big block. They became very powerful. They became important to the governor in terms of getting elected. And then they started calling the shots in terms of closing or when to reopen with COVID. You did damage to the students, you did damage to the populace, but they're sort of become in charge. And the governor can't say to them, sorry, back off, go back to work. I'm running this state. He cannot run afoul of them. So now you have government officials doing the bidding of these groups, essentially. Small, but I'll give you a small and interesting example. Leaf blowers are illegal in Los Angeles. They drive me nuts, and they put out more pollution. I don't know what the study is, but literally one two-stroke gas-powered leaf blower puts out more carbon and more pollution than a full-size Ford pickup truck does in like 5 years. It's really stunning how polluting they are, and they outlawed them. They made them illegal in 1999. Well, any day of the week, you can wake up and look and see gas-powered leaf blowers up and down the street. So they're outlawed. And by the way, in L.A., you park somewhere and your bumper's hanging 6 inches into the red, you will get a ticket. They will write you up for everything. Building permits, try building without a permit in Los Angeles. Try adding a deck on without a permit. They'll write you up. No tickets given ever to the leaf blowers. And the answer is they tried to enforce the law. They didn't like the optics of the poor Mexican gardeners. The Mexican gardeners said, we don't want you picking on us. This is what we use. And the state and the city backed off. So that's their constituency. They don't want to run afoul of them, so thus they don't enforce anything with them. It's the same with all the street vendors. It looks like a bazaar in India. When you go to Los Angeles now, people are selling tacos and blankets and piñatas. I mean, all over every sidewalk, they're just selling out on the street. That never existed. There is no enforcement at all because that is their constituency.
I think I saw Leonardo DiCaprio selling a piñata the other day. Was that him?
That was
Leo?
him. I bought oranges from him when I got
on.
off the freeway. Yeah. Yeah, so
He
here
was in
we
the
are.
Best picture.
Oh,
yeah, he was
that's
in
a
the
horrible.
Best picture of the,
It's a bad
Leo
picture.
was in, I couldn't get through it.
No.
I figured there was something wrong with me. I'm trying to watch this Best Picture of the Year thing. It was on cable, and I tried twice to get through. I couldn't get through it. I mean, the dog is howling. Everybody's screaming. Nobody can. I mean, what was that? It wasn't The Godfather 2. Okay, I'm doing. What is going on here? I don't know. Listen. I can't criticize LA so much because New York is heading right in that direction, and I don't know what it's going to take for the American citizen, the working class person, to rise up. I just don't know what it's going to take because in California, we did not see it in San Francisco, and we were all over that city. I did a stand-up in front of Nancy Pelosi's house. Beautiful place, Pacific Heights.
Sure.
You know? Pelosi has not lifted a finger, not done anything to improve this situation because it's a progressive situation and that she's a progressive. Okay, so it's happening, and you're right. The only way it'll stop is if there's a surge of popular sentiment going enough. I don't expect it to happen because people live in their bubbles now with their phones. That's where they live. They live inside their phones. And whatever happens outside, unless they're getting hit with a hammer, hey, that kind of thing.
Well, I totally agree. I experienced the same thing in L.A. I would always say this. People go, well, we haven't bottomed out yet. We're getting close, but we haven't bottomed out yet. And I would say, so when are we going to change? When we bottom out. I would say, I don't get why we have to bottom out. If you had
You don't have to.
If you had,
right.
I say to people all the time, if you had a teenage son and you went into his room and you found syringes and heroin and drugs and fentanyl all over the place and he slept till 4 p.m. and got 3 DUIs, do you have to wait for him to flatline before you get him into rehab? Or shouldn't you take him into rehab now? Why do we have to wait till his heart stops? I don't get it. A responsible parent would go, I see where this is going. Let's stop before we hit the bottom, even though we're pretty close to the bottom after the fires in Los Angeles.
But you just said a word that's banned in California, responsible.
Right. We don't like that. We don't.
No.
We don't.
No, it's judgmental. You can't be judgmental.
It's
no.
It's yeah. It's the big. It is not the state that I grew up in. And I think what happens is, and what I learned from COVID, is people are amazingly pliable and they're also scared. And you can also manipulate them. So you just go, look, we're going to shut your kid's school down for 2 weeks. I go, all right. And then they go, we're closing it down for a month. And you go, okay. We're doing it for a year. Fine. Wait a minute, a year? Hold on. Are you complaining? You may be a racist. Oh, no, fine. Close it down. I'll just get back in my sweatpants and sit at home and watch porn. Like, they're super malleable and they can sort of get used to anything. So it was a big deal if you saw a homeless guy in the San Fernando Valley when I was a kid. There was really no such thing as, it was Skid Row in the city, but there was nothing in the valley. Now you drive through the valley, you drive through full homeless encampments in Sherman Oaks, and nobody says a word. And the city, instead of demolishing the homeless encampment in Sherman Oaks, goes to the resident of Sherman Oaks who built a tree house that's been there for 25 years that the kids in the neighborhood enjoyed and tear it down because that guy didn't have a permit. And that's
right.
Los Angeles, right?
Yep. That's why people are going to Arizona. So I don't know how many people are going to go up. This is a very interesting phenomenon here.
The phone.
This can drain, it can drain all public concern right out of your body.
Yes.
And because you can create your own world, you can create your own world here on this. And you don't have to go out of this. It provides all the entertainment you need, escapism you need, TikTok you need, whatever it is. So why get complicated and why get involved with stuff that's hard and people aren't going to like you and maybe somebody will scorn you when you can every day pick this thing up and lose yourself. You have to make a living to eat, although in New York, Mandami will give you food if you can find the food place. But that's it. And it just drains all kinds of civic involvement, all kinds of, outrage. This shouldn't be happening. I'm outraged, and I don't live in San Francisco.
Right.
Well, when I saw there, I was angry. This should not be happening. And I, of course, name names. You know me. We're naming names across the board of people that are responsible for this. But that phone is a dangerous item. And in Iran, people don't anything about Iran, uranium enrichment, Hitler, 1938. They don't know. They can't see the nuclear weapon. Where I don't know. No, give me the phone. I'll go. I want to bet on tonight's soccer game.
Right.
Whoa, that's coming.
Yeah. So in the day, pre-phone, you'd have to go out. You didn't even have air conditioning. It would get hot at night. You'd have to go out for a stroll. You'd go to the park. You'd play with the kids outside. Now it's Sodom and Gomorrah outside your front door, and there's Winnebagos piled up, and the guy's selling meth and everything. But you're looking at your brackets for your final 16 on your phone.
Right.
And then when you're done with that, you watch a little pornography, and when you're done with that, you watch the latest Leonardo DiCaprio movie, which shouldn't have got an Academy Award, and then you smoke a little weed and you go to bed. And it all just keeps stacking up outside. What do you think? I cannot wrap my mind around someone like Nancy Pelosi. I cannot figure out what she wants other than power and money. But and Newsom as well. I'm sort of like, you guys, San Francisco is your town, Newsom. It's your town, Pelosi. And it's falling apart, and it's become a punchline and a joke. Is there any part of you that wants to get involved with the reclamation of it?
Well, Newsom doesn't even live in San Francisco. He lives in Marin.
Right.
So he hightailed it out of there. Pelosi's not hard to figure out. Power is everything to her. And the power links into the money. It's worth $300 million. That's almost impossible for a public servant. And I know she had an affluent upbringing in Maryland, but $300 million? So her power base is information and fear. And when she was Speaker of the House, it was, you better do what I tell you to do and vote this way, or you're not going to get any money for your reelection campaign. And it was very effective, except for Ocasio-Cortez and a few others, and Nancy hated them, all right? And then the information flow, I think, and it's just an opinion, led to her discussing with her investor husband where to put the money they had, and boom. So it's fairly venal, it's fairly obvious that's what she lives for. And the city that she lives in falling apart, what does she care? I got $300 million. I live in Pacific Heights. I got private security on my block. Did you know that? Got private security on the block, okay? So you can't just walk down a block.
Right.
She don't want to hear the riffraff. She don't want to see any of this stuff, but it doesn't affect her. And so that's what motivates. Now, Newsom wants to be president. He's a very interesting character. I ran into him in a long conversation with him when I was doing a San Francisco documentary. Very good.
How does that
campaigner?
How do you run into Gavin Newsom?
So at the NFL owners party,
Mm-hmm.
that's how you run into him.
Ah.
And I've known him for a while, not close friends, but I've interviewed him on The Factor and stuff like that. And he's very slick. And I don't say that in a pejorative way. I don't. It's a skill.
Right.
He's got a skill one-on-one with people that very, very few human beings have, because he has patience. Even with a guy like me, he knows that I'm diametrically opposed to what he is. He'll be charming, he'll be patient, he'll look you in the eye, he'll consider what you have to say. That's a skill. So he wants to be president. I don't think he's going to make it myself, but it was an interesting conversation with him.
Yeah, I've talked to him before. He's a likable guy. You believe he's a good dad and things of that nature. Probably be a...
Now, he has hair just like Fabian.
Fabian.
Remember Fabian?
Sure. I'm a tiger. What's his song? His song was Tiger, I think something.
Yeah, I think he was a zebra then a tiger as he got more popular. But Fabian, if you Google Fabian, he's got the exact same hair as Newsom.
Well, people like him. They like his hair. I have no idea what he stands for. I don't think he knows what he stands for. Sometimes when he's asked to express it, he doesn't articulate what he stands for. I think he's, in a weird way, the worst compliment you can give to somebody is they're a great politician, And I do think he's a great politician, but unfortunately that means he stands for nothing. Or
I don't know that. I think he stands for whatever is going to advance his political career.
Well, for sure. Yeah, but that's also
it's like Biden.
Right.
Biden was he was the poster boy for that. I used to call Biden the man of no seasons.
Right.
Whatever his belief system was, 5 years ago, it's not the same today because he's evolved. Maybe you can help me here, Carolla, because I'm trying to evolve, but it isn't working.
Me too.
I can't seem to get into the evolution zone. But with Biden and Newsom, they're just constantly evolving.
Well,
so you really don't know,
Is it a fair statement to say that Kamala Harris attempts to do the same things, but she doesn't pull it off? She's
not smart enough.
Right. She's not smart enough, but she's against fracking. Now she's for fracking. She was for transing the illegals in prison. Now she's against it. And to flip-flop, it takes a very skilled hand to pull that off, and she's just not skilled enough to do that.
I don't think it's a matter of skill for her. I just don't think she's smart enough.
Yes.
To parry with, once you get at a certain level, you're under scrutiny all the time.
Right.
And you've got to be aware of what's happening around you.
Right.
And Newsom is.
Right.
Newsom is very aware of what's happening around, not only in his own life, but he's aware of it.
Right.
Okay? Absolutely clueless of what's, this is the anniversary. We're taping this on Tuesday of her being appointed 5 years ago as border czar.
Right.
Remember that?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to get to the root cause of why millions of people want to come to the United States. And Kamala is going to get to the root cause of that. Of course, the root cause was they wanted to make money.
Right.
That was it.
Yeah.
Okay, there's no other cause. They don't care about the Rocky Mountains. They don't want an In-N-Out burger. They want to make money.
Right.
Okay, they can't make money in Honduras because the gangs will steal it from them, or there's nowhere to go, or whatever it may be. She did nothing, zero, about the border catastrophe. And Biden was more than happy to give it to her because Biden wouldn't do anything either. But I ran her soundbite on the No Spin News, my daily news broadcast tonight. And it was, no, we can walk and chew gum at the same. This is exactly what she said. We can walk and chew gum at the same. We'll get to the root causes, and then we'll stop all of this. And stop one person, not one.
Yes.
Okay? You could have gotten a 5-year-old in El Paso to be the border czar who would have done a better job than Kamala Harris.
That interview she did with Lester Holt, where she said she'd been to the border, we've been to the border, and then the most telling part of that is she said, I haven't been to Europe either. I don't know what you're asking. You're the border czar. He's asking if you've been to the border that you're the czar of. Why is that a confusing question for you? She's stupid. I agree. Bill, let me give you a plug because I know you got a heart out here. We'll do it live, which I like's in the American vernacular. Now, is the podcast also Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, I believe, on News Nation. That's the expose on San Francisco. Give us the title of that one more time, please. Collapse of San Francisco on News Nation. And we live on BillO'Reilly.com. So just to make everybody's life simple, go there. You'll get the We'll Do It Live long form interview. You'll see where the San Francisco special is. You'll get the No Spin News. You get my columns. It's a very easy thing. And I appreciate talking with you, Carolla. It's been a while, and I'm glad you're doing well out there.
I am.
Next time you come to New York, you and I are going to go to Mandami's house and yell anti-communist slogans.
All right, we'll have
We'll have a beer summit with him. Thanks, Bill. Good seeing you, buddy.
Okay, Adam. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll do the news with Andrew right after this. Tecovas. Well, something about wearing good boots just makes you feel like a badass, and that's why I love Tecovas. They're handcrafted for broken-in comfort. They have something for everyone. So whether you're a lifelong cowboy or first-time boot buyer, also their stores have free drinks, which is a nice touch. And really what's amazing, slipping on my first pair and realizing they're so comfortable right out of the box. Listen, I know you're going to love them. These guys have been around. They make everything, and they make it all well. They're Tecovas. Right, Dawson?
Right now, get 10% off at tecovas.com/Adam when you sign up for email and texts. That's 10% off at tecovas.com/Adam. Tecovas.com/Adam. See site for details. Tecovas, point your toes west.
Fast Growing Trees. Did you know Fast Growing Trees is America's largest and most trusted online nursery? They have thousands of trees and plants and over 2 million happy customers. They have all the plants your yard needs, grown with care and guaranteed to arrive healthy. I've moved around, and I like to plant when I move, and I always use Fast Growing Trees. They help me make my dream yard every time. All you have to do is just click to order and grow. I recently just ordered some more, and family can't believe how good they look. It just makes it so easy, and your yard should be a point of pride, and you should get Fast Growing Trees. Right, Dawson?
Right now, they have great deals on spring planting essentials, up to half off on select plants. And listeners to our show get 20% off their first purchase when using the code Adam at checkout. That's an additional 20% off. Better plants and better growing at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code Adam at checkout. Fastgrowingtrees.com, code Adam. Now's the perfect time to plant. Let's grow together. Use Adam and save today. Offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hey, Adam. What does coming down the pike mean? I've heard you say it a few times, but I don't know what a pike is. I also hear people say coming down the pipe, and that makes sense, but what coming down the pike? Okay, that's all.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Well, I'm guessing it's the turnpike coming down the pike. They don't do turnpike out here in L.A. or California, but there's turnpikes where you're from, right, Andrew?
They sure do.
Yeah, so you got
Route 30, Lancaster Turnpike.
We have highways and freeways, but we don't have pikes.
Yeah, and
Pike sounds old to me.
that's correct. Yeah, that's an East Coast thing.
So coming down the pike must be coming down the...
Comes from Turnpike.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. And a weird thing about California is funny because California is environmentally super conscious, but also does a lot of stuff that ruins the environment, like burns the place down on a pretty regular basis and stuff like that. We also like to burn Tesla dealerships and stuff, which I'm guessing no car is worse for the atmosphere than a Tesla in terms of burning that Tesla to the ground. Whatever it's unleashing heavy metals and all, it's all plastic and heavy metals.
Lithium-ion
batteries. It's all a disaster. But anyway, we thought we should burn Teslas to the ground. But there's a funny thing I forgot about. There's a coffee shop in Malibu that I go to on occasion. And I hate waste. And I will get a cup of water from the coffee shop, or I have, and they give it to you in a plastic cup. And at some point, I drank the cup of water, but I wanted to dump some water in my canteen as I continued my journey, my walk. So I go back to the counter, and I have the plastic cup, and I say to the same guy who filled it up for me and handed it to me, he's got the little spigot behind him. I go, can you put some water in this cup and give it back to me? And his answer is, by law, I have to throw away the cup and give you a new plastic cup. And I'm like, I thought we didn't like plastic being thrown away. And it's a pretty stout plastic cup. And I'm standing right here, and he can't turn around, fill it up, and hand it back to me because there's a code. There's a health code that says no reusing of the cups. Okay, but you're the guys lecturing us on plastics and plastic straws and the environment, but you won't reuse the cup.
Yeah, you'd think that would be like the Venn diagram for you.
That's California. If you want a snapshot of California, it's we talk the most about plastic while throwing away the most plastic cups because of shitty health ordinances.
Yeah.
That's them. That's all. If someone said, describe California and how it works to someone who's never even heard of the word California, I'd go, here's their policy. And they'd go, that doesn't make sense. And you'd go, exactly. Next question. All right. The other thing that I wanted to get into. Now, I don't know why hyperbole bothers me. It always bothers me. I'm the worst guy to stand next to when you're trying to tell a story that's hyperbolic, because I always then go, no, it wasn't that bad. No, there wasn't that many people there. No, it was fine. But when men do it, it bothers me more. I don't know why. I don't mind a chick exaggerating, because that's just what they do. But when men do it, it bothers me more.
Yeah, because engaging the imagination that's the act of a child.
Yes, thank you. And Cory Booker decided he needed to go to the airport and engage in a lot of insane rhetoric that at some point I think we're just going to have to call him a liar, because he goes to the airport and they start talking about ICE, because, of course, he's very upset about ICE showing up at the airport. Remember 10 minutes ago when Trump moved the embassy from, Jerusalem, or from, wherever to Jerusalem, and they all said the Middle East was going to burn down, and nothing happened?
Yeah.
Right. Every 10 minutes, they tell us what's going to happen, and then nothing happens. But they never circle back and ever give us a progress report after nothing ever happens. This is Cory Booker at an airport explaining what's going to go on with ICE. By the way, it doesn't help your case to have 4-year-old toddlers walking back and forth and moms with roller bags just going about their business.
Yeah.
You need ICE officers stabbing lesbians to really drive your point home. But here's his description of what ICE has been up to for the last several months.
And so what's happening today in America that should outrage everybody? He's taking this very same agency that has been bursting into our schools, into our churches, into our hospitals, into our courts, and even into the homes of Americans. He's taking that agency that is reckless and out of control and bringing them to our airports. Under the lie that somehow this is going to help deal with the long lines that he created in the first place. This is an outrage.
All right, everyone's outraged. They're always outraged until they move on to the next thing they're outraged about.
Yeah.
How are they bursting into church? I thought that was Don Lemon who did that. They're bursting into churches, hospitals, courts. Well, they do go to courts when the illegal's being arraigned, because you guys won't hand them over. So they'll do the court thing.
Yeah, there's definitely
schools. They're going to schools, everybody. Flight schools. What kind of schools?
That was a calm-looking airport. There's not enough bedlam.
He set up a podium and had a sound guy there with a microphone and everything.
Yes, because we're outraged. Les, first off, TSA guys, not Green Beret Special Forces.
I would watch that movie though.
Not that caliber of security guard. Think more. When I think TSA, think more. Remember the fat chicks that were guarding Trump when he got shot in the ear? Think more of them.
It's more of a Paul Blart.
A little more Paul Blart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. A little. Yeah. I think a little more Paul Blart.
Yeah.
That's what you want to think
mall
of.
cop.
It's mall cop. Okay. So they can be replaced by anybody. Number one. Number two, the reason the lines are long is because a lot of them stayed home. So if you replace them, then the lines would get shorter, which they have. But again, according to lying Cory Booker, it's a problem. But yeah, think more Paul Blart and less John Wick.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying when you picture your average TSA agent. As far as I would like you to think a little more Aunt Esther from Sanford and Son. All I ever do is get yelled at by older black women who are in front of the line somewhere doing something to me because I'm in charge of systemic racism. All right, so Cory Booker's a lying douche, and I guess he knows he's lying. Does anyone ask him questions like when you go churches, schools, what are you really talking about? Are there instances of this? And if there are, and CNN decided to not run with it, is that what you're suggesting?
I don't know. I think he's probably trying to bump up his numbers on the poly market chart. He's not looking great right now. It's still Gavin by a lot.
Well, the truth is, if they repeat a lie enough times, everyone believes
He said
it.
inject bleach. Yeah, okay. All right. Except for no one ever injected bleach. Now, do you have the poor 18-year-old girl that was shot by the illegal in Chicago as part of your thing?
Sheridan Gorman, 18 years old. She was a student at Loyola University and sadly was killed last week. And, so the Chicago lawmaker, Alderman Maria Hadden of Chicago, is being torn apart on Twitter for kind of the dumbest take.
Well, hold on. Before we play it, it's an 18-year-old girl who went out to see the Northern Lights or something at night, and there's an illegal 25-year-old who shot her in the back when she was trying to run from this guy. It's also, it's kind of a weird, okay, if you're a person that can shoot a stranger in the back who didn't grab your laptop and run, just a person that's sort of walking around, you're capable of anything in terms of violence.
Well, she was running away.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's insane. She shows up with this guy who was caught at the border and then let in under Biden and then brought to a sanctuary city, which is, look, whether you're an illegal or a drug addict, you're going to go where the getting's good. And if San Francisco is a good place to be a drug addict, then you will end up in San Francisco. And if Chicago's a sanctuary city and Dade County, Florida isn't a sanctuary state or city, then you're going to go to Chicago over the place that is not as hospitable to your illegal ass being there. But they caught him at the border. Then they sent him. He ended up in Chicago. Then he got arrested, but for theft. And then instead of handing him over to ICE, they did not. He was released back in Chicago, and then at some point he kills an innocent 18-year-old girl that no one on the left cares about because it hurts their narrative. But this is Alderwoman
Maria Hadden.
All right, so she has a take on what may have happened.
Yeah.
The kids were out doing normal things people do in the neighborhood. And it sounds like this might have been a wrong place, wrong time, running into a person who had a gun. They might have startled this person at the end of the pier unintentionally. But that's all we know. So
yeah. She startled this guy. He was going down to the end of the pier to get his thoughts together.
Yeah.
And she startled him because she
she
was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Everyone that gets murdered is in the wrong place at the wrong time.
But she's talking about this guy. She's startled like he's a mountain lion in Hollywood Knoll, and you were just fucking around with his nest or something. Like it's insane.
She has to do this. They can't not do this. By the way, the two idiots who got shot by ICE, they had to say something and go to the memorial and lay a wreath at or whatever. These people, the people that aren't agitating ICE and getting in the way of law enforcement procedures and fighting with them, these people are just not good for their narrative, and they hate that they were shot by an illegal. So in a weird way, they have to try, and it's a really ghoulish thought. I'm going to transfer some of the responsibility on the 18-year-old citizen to try to lighten the load of the illegal who we let stay in our sanctuary city.
Yeah, I mean, the mixed messaging here is insane because it's like you're not supposed to victim blame, but that's exactly This is
could have
victim blaming.
startled him. Innocent mistake. He had a gun. That's the real problem. They ran, and she was gunned down in the back by the startled person with the gun, idiot. Chuck, you can look up her webpage because we were looking her up. She is the problem with every major city in the United States, every blue city. She is the problem. And you guys are like, what are you talking about, Adam? Her life is not about filling potholes, solving your problems, filling up aqueducts, rapid transit, or anything like that. It's all about the movement. By the way, Dawson, did you know that she is the first black lesbian older person in Chicago's history? Did you know that? That'll be great news to the grieving family.
That's great. Problem solved.
This is her district, by the way. There's something about a few paragraphs down that show her.
Yeah,
Maria has been a leader in Chicago through her organizing. She's organizing and advocacy. She's an advocate of organizing, participatory. Where's that? Buggering? What's she doing? She's
budgeting.
Oh, budgeting lives.
Budgeting in Chicago. She lives with her spouse, Natalia, and their cattle dog, Finn, in the Pratt Ashland Cooperative.
She's in a co-op. She's in a co-op.
Yeah. She enjoys living in a place where neighbors are friends and the community is family. And she is proud of her community's resilience and motivation to work together in difficult situations. In her free time, Maria is a photographer and artist who enjoys screen printing and carpentry.
Does she sound like someone who's going to fix infrastructure?
No,
to you? Don't put it down. It's her next line that I like the best.
Okay, before becoming alderwoman, Maria Haddon was the executive director of Our City, Our Voice, a national nonprofit organization she founded to enable communities and local governments across the country to redesign democracy for more empowered and equitable participation.
We're going to redesign. We're going to reimagine. We're going to everything.
Yeah. Her expertise in public participation is grounded in grassroots organizing efforts for social change.
All right. So everyone, the problem with the blue cities is, and by the way, we have Mayor Bass, so we have another Dumbo who'd rather be in Ghana instead of anticipating a huge scale fire. These people are not interested in the potholes and in the reservoirs and in crime and all the boring stuff that makes a city safe for its citizens. They want to celebrate with the gay flag in the community and look at systemic this and systemic that and enact change. They're not interested. By the way, I'm not interested in their shit. If I was an older person in Chicago, guess how many gay flag ceremonies and LGBT whatever I would go to? Zero? I would go to zero because I wouldn't be interested in it. They are not interested in what you're interested in as far as the city. They're interested in change and what the new face of the city looks like and so on and so forth. So thus, if you get a bunch of these people in positions of power, then whatever the gay pride talk's going to go up tenfold, but the potholes are not going to get filled because that's not where their interest lies. Karen Bass, mayor of Los Angeles, is not interested in the nuts and the bolts of the city. Nithya Raman is interested in going down to Hyperion Boulevard in Silver Lake and taking down signs about U-turns so gay guys can cruise the neighborhood and fuck on people's lawns. That's where her priorities are. If I was in charge, I'd want to go after graffiti and garbage and crime and homelessness and aqueducts and forest management and things like that. But she's not interested in that. And we get a whole bunch of people that aren't interested. And I don't even think it's not even a pejorative. It's just to say, I've never had a girlfriend or a wife or a woman in my life where we've had real talks about infrastructure, building, taxes, and things like that. They're not interested in it. And then we elected a bunch of them, and the city is run accordingly.
Yeah.
We're getting what we voted for. We voted for people that aren't interested in the boring nuts and bolts part. They're interested in the ceremonial part of being in charge.
Yeah.
Their idea of being in charge is going to a cocktail party and telling everyone what their title is, but not getting up Monday morning and dealing with cracked sidewalks.
No. And
Right.
coming up with fun names for nonprofits.
That's right. Euphemistic titles. Also, I want to say this to all the assholes out there. Everyone who goes, we need to deport violent criminals, and instead we're deporting just people who are here, who cross the border, looking for a better life. Okay, so your claim, now my point is if you're here illegally, we can get rid of you. I would like to start with the violent criminals, but if you're here illegally, we can get rid of you. Okay, so their whole thing is these guys are just folks that are fleeing oppression, that come here and they're looking for a better life. This guy that murdered this 18-year-old in cold blood, shot her in the back, just snuffed her out, this evil, wicked, ghoulish person only run-in with the law was shoplifting.
Yeah.
So he got busted for shoplifting, and they let him out. And if we picked up the story there, Cory Booker and every one of these politicians and all the assholes on CNN would go, this guy, is a poor guy, he shoplifted probably just to feed his family, he's hardworking and whatever. Okay, that's true. He's not a violent criminal. He's a shoplifter who then snuffed out an 18-year-old later on. He became a violent criminal.
Yeah.
So this thing of like, oh, this guy only stole a car, and this guy only drove drunk, and this guy only copped some razzles or something. Fine. This guy was a shoplifter when he's 23, and he's a murderer at 25.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Let's get rid of him when he's a shoplifter.
Yeah.
Or not let him in the fucking country at all. How about that? How about that? And also, the other thing is, this dude is 25. He's going to sit in one of our prisons for 60 years. You understand? And it's going to be a maximum security. He's getting life, and we are going to pay $75,000 a year for this guy for the next 50 or 60 years while he's incarcerated. We're going to feed him, and at some point he's going to need medical attention, and he's never going to pay a penny in taxes, and he's going to cost us millions and millions. This one guy who Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, border czar, led into this country, one guy not only snuffed out this person at 18, but we are going to spend millions of dollars, courts, medical, prisons, court-appointed attorneys, counselors. At some point, he's going to sue the state of Illinois because he was mistreated in prison. One guy we let in.
Yeah, I just Googled it. $50,000 a year.
Is going to cost.
That's how much it costs to incarcerate someone in Illinois.
All right. And he's going to be around for 60 years because you don't tend to OD and you don't smoke a lot in prison. So let's see. 5 times 6 is 30. Is this guy going to cost us $3 million? Did I figure that one out?
That's correct.
So it's going to be $3 million just to keep him incarcerated, not to mention there's going to be a lot of other expenses attached to this guy. Because we let one guy in, it's millions of dollars, and an 18-year-old will never see her 19th birthday. Thanks, Joe Biden. Good, but Joe Biden's a good dude, right? It's good.
Well, this is like that tweet you liked about weaponized empathy.
100%. Where is that clip?
That's
Do we have that?
yeah, we have that. That's a liked tweet.
Yes. Women are much more empathetic than men, and they have a hard time putting people in prison and punishing people. So they let them back out, and then their empathy seems to go out the window for the 18-year-old that got snuffed out by the person they let hang out in their sanctuary city, though. That part, that's where the empathy tends to go. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Yeah, they're in the business of keeping your car on the road. They offer friendly, helpful service and the knowledge you need. If I can't figure out something that's going on with my car, they're always the first call I make. They have thousands of parts in stock. They can test your battery for free. Need wiper blades, brake light, I don't know, quick fix for something on the car? They'll get you the right part. Everyone who works there is knowledgeable, and best off, they are friendly. Held the door for me last time I was at the one out in Burbank. The professional parts people at O'Reilly are your one-stop shop for DIY auto stuff, in-store or online. It's O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right, Dawson?
Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit us at O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam. That's O'ReillyAuto.com/Adam.
Pluto TV has thousands of free movies and TV shows.
You swear? If I'm lying, I'm dying.
This is the mindset. Free. This is the mantra.
Free.
This is the mindset. With movies like Titanic, Dreamgirls, and Gladiator.
Are you not entertained?
And TV shows like Survivor, SpongeBob SquarePants, The Fairly Odd Parents, and Ghosts. Pluto TV is always free. Huzzah! Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
Speaking of shitty governments, Los Angeles has just announced it's going to greenlight a staggering $250 million expansion to LAX, the LAX project, up from $13 million.
Hold on. The clip's ready now, so we'll circle back to
it's ready?
LAX.
Okay, great.
Here we go. Who is this speaking, by the way? Well,
J.D. Haltigan.
J.D. Haltigan, who's a something. All right, well, here's what he has to say.
Let's see what he has to say.
I think what's happened is we've come to basically hijack the feminine ethic of care, the feminine impulse to be empathetic, particularly on the left, has become what I view as a completely feminized Democratic Party where empathy is weaponized. And so, we see more women in college. We see less men, in the humanities, in social sciences, and sort of the systemizing element, which is really what underlies how things are ordered in society, how things function, has been, there has been basically more or less discarded or seen as not important. Masculinity is really what will track personality-wise with systemization, and femininity is really sort of the analogy with empathization. And if a society becomes completely feminine, all kinds of chaos will ensue because you don't have any sort of rule-based, lawful, statistically minded, quantitatively focused.
Pause it for a second. So when I tell you Los Angeles thinks like a chick, we're chick-based thinking. That's why we have all the fucking chaos and the the chickiest based thinking city is San Francisco, and that's why they're fucked, right? And then if you go to the dude-based thinkers, then you have, I don't know, Galveston, Texas, or something like that. But even within a place like Texas, you can have Austin, which is a little slice of chick think in the middle of Texas, which will now have a bunch of homeless people in it. But, in 50 years, we'll all be chicks. I tried to warn everybody years ago. All right, continue. Sorry.
No, that's
lawful, statistically minded, quantitatively focused orientation to why we have laws, why we have rules, why we need order, why we need immigration law, and so forth. And so I think that's really what's happened is we've reached a threshold in society where one party is completely feminized. They see the Trump side, right, conservative as sort of the masculine embodiment, and they're just, these two forces are clashing right now. And you see this playing out all over the place. And, masculinity's been a huge topic of pundit writing online and so forth. But, it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You're destroying our society with chick think, everybody. Knock it the fuck off. The answer is not more women in politics. Jesus Christ.
In the words of Al Pacino in Heat, empathy was yesterday. Today you're wasting my fucking time.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, now we're going back to the airport.
This is California Post. Yeah, LA greenlights a staggering $250 million expansion to an LAX project to help alleviate traffic in the Ring Road. So it was $13 million. They added $250 million. It's now a grand total of $308 million. I don't know where that other money came from. It makes no sense. But you would be happy to hear this. The city officials have cleared the project under a categorical exemption from the California Environmental Quality Act. So it allows it to move forward without a full environmental review, which would have been another...
Again, we burn the city down every 4 years, and we're worried so much about the environmental impact of building a monorail or something. Yeah, every time we try to do something in California in some sort of timely fashion, the only way we can do it is go, all right, listen, we've set aside and dropped all the retarded regulations that usually doesn't allow us to build anything at any time for any amount of money in any time. We took our own stupid rules and we suspended them. They're your rules. You can get rid of them if you don't want them.
Yeah.
If all they do is clog up the works, which is all they do. So it's like, I don't know, it's like your dad and you're going on a road trip with your family and you're like, good news, I've suspended all my retarded rules for myself so we can actually make it to Oregon and not stop every 15 minutes and circle every light post and listen to nothing but Eagles songs on the way there. I've taken my horrible ideas that I've imposed on all of you, and I've dropped them. By the way, no other place has any of these ideas, which is the part that's always a weird thing. Like I said, if you order anything online, there's only one state they don't ship to. Like, oh, I want a flueless, gas-powered, log-burning fireplace. We ship not California. Not California. How do other cities get along? How do other states get along? Like, how do they function without all the rules that we impose?
I have
all
no
the
idea.
time?
It's going to get interesting, too, because I think right now we're about 28 months away from hosting the Olympics.
Oh, I love, there's a part of life, I don't know why. I like it when all of a sudden we get our shit together part, it's like, oh, Mayor Bass has put a homeless commission together, and she's out cleaning up encampments and stuff like, now.
Or Xi Jinping is visiting San Francisco.
Right.
Yeah.
Newsom does something. By the way, that clip of Newsom, Dawson, when he's like, I know you guys think that I just cleaned up the city because the premier of China was coming. Well,
it's true.
Because it's true.
Because it's true.
No.
That's full retard thing right there.
That is Rick James in the Chappelle Show saying you didn't kick Eddie Murphy's couch and then going, yeah, I kicked his couch.
I got to find that clip. That is my favorite clip of all. Oh, the other thing I wanted. Sorry, I told Andrew, but we didn't make the list. It was kind of a hectic day. The Chicago alderwoman doing the wrong place, wrong time, like maybe.
Oh, no, we have it up. It's Chuck, it's that Ilhan Omar.
Yeah, like he was at the Dawson. This is the same thing. Play the alderwoman one more time first, and then I'll play you the global version of this. More chick think, by the way, more dumb chick think. But here we go.
The kids were out doing normal things people do in the neighborhood. And it sounds like this might have been a wrong place, wrong time, running into a person who had a gun. They might have startled this person at the end of the pier unintentionally. But that's all we know. So the kids were out.
Wrong place is living in Chicago. Wrong time is now with you idiots in charge. Ilhan Omar, when she had to explain 9/11.
CARE was founded after 9/11. because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties.
She's more worried about her not getting hassled when she goes to the bodega than the 3,000 people that are dead.
Yeah, some people.
One more
did
time.
something.
It's great. I love it. Some people did. By the way, if anyone said Ilhan Omar, who is she? 8 seconds. I'd go watch this tape. She's dumb. But by the way, she's so fucking annoying. She's angry all the time because she's a millionaire. Okay, there it is.
CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties.
By the way, what's it, 7 years ago or something? What access? You mean being able to rip off the fucking government? Is that, you're talking about access to ripping off the government with a bunch of daycare bullshit from your Somalian friends?
All right, so it's January 31st, 2023, Dawson? Is that what
Yeah. All right. So she lost that. Anyway, that's chick thing. Guy was maybe down at the pier, maybe got startled at the pier, and then later some people did some things, and let's eat lunch. All right. Well, that sounds like a reasonable explanation and chick thing.
Okay. Now to the other side of the country. This is Kathy Hochul. She finally admits that the economy-killing climate law is bad for New York, and she should probably end it. Now, this is the 2019 Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act that was signed into law by Cuomo.
You know my part? You know what I love with all these fucking politicians? They always preface it with they're still very committed to this thing, but they've scrapped it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But still very committed to this thing, but not doing this thing anymore.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. This is Hochul, who's dumb.
And this will make families have to endure impossible choices. I will not stand by and let that happen. I believe that the goals of this law to build a clean energy future and strengthen our energy system for years to come is a noble one. I'm committed to it. But I also have to
take... All right, hold on. It's noble, and she's committed to it. Except for I'm now going to scrap it.
Except that, because it doesn't work.
Right, and it hurts people.
But it's noble.
But the more important part is how much she's committed to this thing that in the next 9 words, she's going to tell you we're scrapping. All right, go back 5 seconds just because it's funny.
Committed to it. But I also have to have responsibility to protect people from rising costs. If the path forward is only going to drive prices higher, then we have to act. And that's why I'm calling on the legislature to work with me in the next few weeks before the budget is due to come up with a common sense plan that understands the realities that we're dealing with today. This is not the world of 2019 as much as we wish it were when this law was first passed. We will not walk away from our climate goals.
No.
We'll make sure that the path we're on is realistic.
We're not going to walk away from our climate goals. I'm just scrapping the climate shit. But there's still a great commitment to it.
Yeah.
I'm just scrapping. I love this company. I'm just quitting.
She's taking responsibility.
I'm not going to walk away from this company, but I am quitting.
That's good enough for the people who voted for her, though.
It is. When you're fucking dumb, and by the way, this is more chick think. It's just talk. The climate thing's just a fucking bullshit money grab. And by the way, it is easy to scrap bullshit money grabs. Like, here's the whole thing. Defund the police, that's going to affect people. Scrapping the climate bullshit affects nobody because it was made up in the first place. So that's the good news, right? I mean, no one cares.
Yeah.
It's not going to affect anybody.
No, it's not a real...
Hold on. We'll hear. Wait, go back another... Go back to almost the front. I just like that she has her goals and her commitments still. Go ahead.
And that's why I'm calling on the legislature to work with me in the next few weeks before the budget is due to come up with a common sense plan that understands the realities that we're dealing with today. This is not the world of 2019 as much as we wish it were when this law was first passed. We will not walk away from our climate goals. but make sure that the path we're on is realistic and fair to the people we serve. Because a climate policy that leaves working families behind is not a sustainable path forward.
All right. Well, all right. So let me just figure out this about Kathy Hochul. She told rich guys to hit the bricks and go to Florida and to get on a bus and take their shitty politics and get out of New York. We don't need them. And then she said, let's really focus on climate change. And now she's saying, hey, rich guys, could you come back and pay for everything? And we're going to scrap the climate change bullshit because we can't afford it.
Yeah. That's
all right. Well, maybe she's a shitty decision maker. Maybe her ideas are bad. Like this flip-flop thing. Like, how many times can you just have a shit idea, go all in on the shit idea, fuck everything up, and then announce, well, that was a bad idea before I think you're bad at what you do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're a football coach. Yeah. And it's 4th and 17. Yeah. And you got a 2-point lead. Yeah. I'm going for it. I'm handing the ball off. Really? I think you should punt. There's only 14 seconds left in the game. And if you get stuffed here, they're going to be in field goal range. I'm handing the ball off. And then you get stuffed. And then they kick a field goal and win the game. How many of those can you do as a head coach in the NFL before we decide you're a shitty head coach? You guys can just indefinitely, we want to defund the police. Nope, we want to fund the police. That was a bad idea. We want all the climate change bullshit. No, we can't afford it. No, we're going to close the schools. Oh, that turned out to be a bad idea, but we're going to open the border. That turned out to be a shit idea. How many are shitty? We're going to run the tax base out of the city, and then we're going to beg for them to come back. How long before we just realize you're a shit coach and your decision making is bad? And then why do people vote for this? It's so abundantly clear that she's incompetent.
They vote for it because she takes full responsibility.
She takes full responsibility for every shitty time she went for it on 4th down and 17 and gave the ball up.
I would have thought taking full responsibility would have been like, yeah, I resign. I quit. I'm not good enough to do this. But that's not it. I think the plan is she's just going to push back the deadlines on this act until she's reelected, and then maybe rewrite the law, because it's just from a numbers standpoint, it's not realistic. Cutting 40% by 2030, so 4 years from now,
of like carbon and stuff,
of greenhouse gas emissions from 1990 levels, and then by 2050. No less than 85%, which is
insane. But it's the greatest scam ever. You get a bunch of dunces, you put them in a room, they make goals. Here's our goal. I want an 85% reduction in harmful greenhouse gases. All right, let's go to Quiznos.
Yeah,
you guys aren't Elon Musk. You can't figure any of this shit out. You don't know how to do it.
No,
you make the proclamation, but that's it. Remember, Newsom was like, no more internal combustion engines sold in California after the date of 2030. Okay, here's what I would like. I would like to suspend gravity so I could float to work every day, thus not having to use an internal combustion engine. Dawson, you drive a big truck.
Yeah.
Should we suspend gravity so that you can swim to work like a cartoon when a dog would smell a pork chop?
You know, a lot of people say
toward it.
I like to set goals that are, way out there because we're dreamers.
We're dreamers.
Yeah.
We lead the nation in dreaming.
We are going to end gravity.
Yes, we're delusional. Right.
It is a New Year's resolution style of governing.
Yes.
It lasts until about January 15th. And then
also, they can't pull it off because they're too dumb to pull it off. Rick Caruso could tell, look, if Elon Musk said, I'm building a bullet train, I'd go, good, we're going to get a bullet train.
Yeah, let's go.
If Gavin Newsom says, I'm building a bullet train, we're going to get a donkey with 3 legs.
Well, speaking of which, that's our next news story here. Gavin Newsom was roasted for bizarrely comparing himself to the main character from the movie American Psycho. That's right. In a post on X Monday night, Newsom showed a split-screen shot of his face side by side with actor Christian Bale from his portrayal of the serial killer in the 2000 Bret Easton Ellis adaptation.
Now, I know everyone loves that movie. I haven't seen it. That's going to upset you, Andrew.
It's a great movie, but that's not someone you're going to want to compare yourself to if you're, someone who wants to run for governor and about. I mean,
run for president.
Run for president in a hold on a sec. Do we have the tweet? Yeah, if you want to run for president in 2028, Patrick Bateman is not the guy you want people to think of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
we have the
tweet. Hold on, wait. But it's also kind of just a weird thing people do where they say, "Hey, I look like this movie star," and it's never a good look for anyone.
Yeah. Well, he says what in the tweet?
For so many years, people have been saying that Patrick Bateman and I look alike. Now this pic has been going all over the place. What do you guys think?
All right. I don't know. I'd like them to not act like a psychopath or maybe a sociopath. Anyway, there's something wrong with Gavin Newsom. I don't know how else to explain that. And by the way, I don't say that about many people I disagree with. I go, they're douchebags or they're assholes or they're smart, but they're angry or mean, or most people are just money grubbers. But I do not say sort of sociopath. He is. He does not. Well, I was just talking to Bill O'Reilly about it. Bill O'Reilly got it right. He's a great politician. He cares about nothing. He'll do whatever all the time. He has no thoughts.
Yeah, he's a slick guy, and I will say this.
But by the way, slick, we do two things in our society. We glorify pimps, like that guy's got a strong pimp hand and a cane. It's like that guy takes underage girls and has guys fuck them in the street and then takes their money and beats them. It's not a cool guy. It's not a good guy. And the really slick politician,
no.
That's the guy who gets nothing done, but you can never pin anything on him.
No.
But he stands for nothing, which is who Gavin Newsom is. But by the way, 13 years ago, when I told him about the homeless problem and what we needed to do, he told me to fuck off.
Yeah.
So he doesn't care about any of it. He told me the real face of homeless.
The best reply to his Patrick Bateman tweet included this, where Gavin Newsom looks strikingly like Butthead.
That's right.
Yeah.
A Beavis and Butthead.
I can see that.
Yeah.
No, I'll say this. The older I get, the less interested I am in charismatic people because I don't give a shit.
Let me say this. Ellen is nice, and she's a bad person, according to the people who have to work with her. So I don't trust nice. And the nice version on the male side is charismatic, which is you're acting like this and doing that. You're trying to get me to believe something about you that you don't feel about you or that you feel is lacking in you. I used to tell people all the time, I always say I can act like an asshole because I'm not an asshole.
Yeah.
I can say whatever I want. I can say all the racist shit I want because I'm not racist. And I can say all the asinine things I want because I'm not a bad guy. But if you are a bad person and you sort of know who you are, you must spend your waking hours convincing everyone around you that you're not the person that resides inside you that you're aware of.
Yeah.
So Elon Musk just does what Elon Musk does because he doesn't think he's a bad person. If he's trying to protect that, then you would act differently. So there are those people, and it's Gavin Newsom. It's the deep leg crossers. I care. Look at I got a brooch and a deep leg cross. Look how much I care. And think about all those actors and how they sort of present versus who they actually are.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
So the people that are actually decent don't burn calories trying to convince you they're nice.
No.
At all. They just go about thinking themselves a decent person.
No.
And I think there's a lot to that. Women The ones that are, and so all they talk about, I mean, you grab that clip, Dawson, of him recently. We played it on Adam What's-His-Nose's show where he's looking for his why, but not his if. And the guy just basically said to him, what do you do? Like, what's your subject? Like, what is your platform? Like, what do you want to get done?
The Adam Friedland podcast.
His answer was not only a non-answer, but it was wildly self-congratulatory. He's going to fight injustice like a fucking superhero. Listen to what he says. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't, like if you said to me, Adam, what do you, traffic, fucking can't stand traffic. Stupid people don't turn right on a red. Why does an arrow ever turn red? It should just blink yellow once it's done being green. I'd tell you for a half hour. First, we just talk about traffic, and then I talk about graffiti, then I talk about garbage, then I talk about homelessness. I'd go for 40 minutes. He gives no answer except for he is some sort of crusader for injustice.
Yeah, he gives a watered-down Tom Joad speech at the end of Grapes of Wrath. Wherever there's injustice, you're going to see.
I'll be there. Newsom is going to pop up. Yeah, wherever there's the French Laundry, wherever there's a $1,400 bottle of Pinot Noir, I will be there. Because that's really who he is. He doesn't do shit. And the guy just asked him, what's the plan? Like, what do you want to do? What are you passionate about? What are your subjects? And he talked about being a crusader for justice.
He's a crusader for justice. And that guy...
And helping the little person.
Even the interviewer had to stop him halfway through.
I did like that when Adam was like, huh?
What?
What? He literally went, what?
Wait, what?
What? Yes, that's who he is. He's a bullshit artist. He doesn't have infrastructure, potholes, or anything to deal with. Here
we go.
It's perfect.
This is awesome.
And you're going to stop it, Dawson, because we're going to break it down because he's nuts. All right, here it is.
What is your defined political project? Like throughout your career and like right now? Like what is the thing you want to accomplish like politically?
I don't have like a brand. I don't have a tag, Make America Great, or I don't, the Great Society, or something like Medicare for all the billionaires. But but for me, no bullshit. It's just standing up for ideals, striking out against injustice. It defines my why. In
all right,
every
hold
way,
on.
shape,
He's
form.
striking out against injustice and standing up. Everybody on the left is standing up because they're so brave, except for they have security details and they sit in air conditioning all day and they ruin the state they preside over. But his whole thing is standing up for injustice. Okay, that's his why, or whatever he's talking about. Here we go.
That's my why.
The Great Society, or something like Medicare for all the billionaires. But but for me, no bullshit. It's just standing up for ideals, striking out against injustice. It defines my why. In every way, shape, form. Stand up for ideals, strike out against injustice. I'm a Sarge Schreiber Democrat. I'm into that whole 60s, the vernacular of the 60s, solving for ignorance and poverty and disease, and the spirit of the 60s. And the spirit of
He's a Black Panther now.
He's going to stop poverty and disease. And he's going to stop disease.
He's striking out.
Striking out. All right, here we go.
Poverty and disease, and the spirit of the 60s, and the spirit of King, and and how the nonviolent movement, and Gandhi, and Havel, and Mandela, that moral authority, that whole space, that's the zeitgeist.
Yeah.
And so that's me. That's my dad. That's my mom. That's the book. And that's my why. And so standing up for ideals is what Gay Marriage. It was about what I'm doing right now is sort of push back. We can lose this country, and just feeling like I have to be held to account and strike out against the injustices of the day.
So if you had to define
all right, pause it there. Strike out against the injustices of the day, whatever those are. He's fighting them. But he doesn't mention forest management and fires and things, and aqueducts and stuff like that. He's fighting out. He's lashing out against injustice. I do love the part where Adam goes, huh?
What?
Oh, go ahead.
The day.
So if you had to define it, like,
Vote
for me and you get
you tell
X.
me. You're better at this.
I don't know. I don't know who you. What
I
your
just gave
shit
you
is.
my why, but how do you translate that into human?
What? So if you say like,
I like it. Listen, he's not capable of communicating, people. This is sexy to women. Women think this is good. They're like, oh yeah, I like this guy.
He means well.
He sins. He says nothing. He does nothing. He is nothing. He's nothing.
Yeah, and these are friendly confines for him.
know. All right, let's see. Friday, Saturday, Norfolk, Nebraska, District Event Center. Early shows maybe sold out, at least Friday, but later shows got some tickets. Sunday, Lincoln, Nebraska, late show sold out. Early afternoon show got some tickets. That's at the Howler Comedy Club. You go to adamcarolla.com for all the live stuff. Bill O'Reilly, just go to BillO'Reilly.com and find out what you need to know about all his events. Nice job, Andrew. And until next time, it's Adam for Andrew and Bill O'Reilly saying mahalo.